My son turned into a millionaire and presented me with a house. 3 months after that, he perished in a vehicle accident. The following day, his spouse appeared at my doorstep accompanied by her new partner. This property belongs to me now. Find another place to mourn. I departed, but my concealed cameras remained, and the authorities were thrilled with the footage they captured. If you're viewing this, hit subscribe and tell me your location in the comments. I'm Dorothy Williams, aged 67, and after 35 years as a high school educator, I believed I'd witnessed the depths of human depravity. How mistaken I was. Nothing equipped me for the actions of my daughter-in-law the day following my son's burial. It was a dreary Tuesday morning when Tiffany arrived at my entrance, tapping her fake nails on her luxury handbag. She had company. Trailing her was an unfamiliar man, tall and muscular, clad in work boots and sporting a grin that unsettled me. "Dorothy, we have to discuss something," Tiffany declared, shoving past me into the entryway uninvited. Her boldness always stunned me. "Regarding what, my dear?" I inquired, even as a chill gripped my gut. Marcus had passed away precisely 24 hours prior. The funeral arrangements still lingered fresh in the living area. "About this residence," she replied, waving dramatically around the space. "Rick here is a builder. We've been talking about some upgrades." Rick, that was his name. I examined his features, observing how his gaze evaluated my home as if he already owned it. It was unnerving, but Marcus gifted me this house 3 months back. The title is under my name. Tiffany's laughter cut like shards of glass. "Oh, sweetie, you don't grasp so much. You see, Marcus intended to challenge that gift. He confided in me about it. He said handing you the house was an error, that you influenced him during his vulnerable phase after his advancement." My heart constricted. Marcus had bestowed the house upon me willingly and affectionately right after his firm went public, and he amassed wealth beyond his wildest dreams. We'd been standing in this very entryway when he passed me the keys, his eyes misty as he embraced me. "That's untrue," I murmured, "isn't it?" Tiffany advanced nearer, her scent overpowering and suffocating. "Accept it, Dorothy. You're an elderly lady with no other options. Marcus pitied you, but he planned to correct his blunder. Since he can't anymore, I'm taking care of it for him." Rick chimed in for the first time, his tone gravelly and disagreeable. "Listen, ma'am. We can handle this smoothly or roughly, but we're settling in next week. The remodeling kicks off Monday." I gazed at them both, my thoughts spinning. The day before, I'd laid my only child to rest. Today, his wife was evicting me from my home alongside a stranger who spoke like a ruffian. "I require time to absorb this," I stated at last. "You have until Friday," Tiffany responded, glancing at her phone as if the exchange wearied her. "Rick has to begin demolishing the kitchen. We're aiming for a full open layout." They exited without further comment, getting into a huge truck that certainly wasn't my sophisticated son's. I observed them depart, a shadowy resolve budding within me. If Tiffany believed she could steamroll Dorothy Williams, she was in for a rude awakening. Allow me to rewind 3 months to explain the origins of this ordeal. It was December, and Marcus had just phoned with the announcement that his tech venture had sold for $47 million. $47 million, my son, who once pleaded for lunch funds in high school. "Mom, I want to do something meaningful for you," he'd mentioned during supper at my preferred eatery, "to express my appreciation for all your sacrifices." I'd nurtured Marcus solo after his dad passed when he was 12. I juggled 2 jobs, pawned my grandma's jewels to fund his coding classes, subsisted on instant noodles so he could dress appropriately for interviews. I never regretted it once. "You don't owe me a thing, darling," I told him that evening. I beg to differ. His gaze sparkled with enthusiasm. "I purchased you a house, Mum, your ideal home." The property was a lovely colonial style on Maple Street, in the district I'd admired during my nightly strolls for years. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, a kitchen boasting granite surfaces, and a yard ideal for the garden I'd long desired. "Marcus, I can't take this," I'd objected, though my spirit lifted. "You can, and you must. The deed's already in your name. Think of it as a belated holiday gift for all those holidays when I couldn't provide anything worthwhile." Tiffany had remained unusually silent throughout. She'd wed Marcus 2 years prior, a rapid romance that began when she served as his dental assistant 24 to his 39, fair-haired and stunning, thoroughly enchanted by his abrupt fortune. "What does Tiffany think of this?" I'd probed softly. "Tiffany gets how vital you are to me," Marcus had answered, though I noted he avoided eye contact with his wife. Now, 3 months on, standing in that identical kitchen, I pondered if I'd been foolish to trust that. Had Tiffany harbored resentment toward the gift from the outset? Had she schemed this seizure even back then? I brewed some tea and perched at the breakfast spot, reflecting. Marcus had seemed off in the weeks leading to the crash, distracted, edgy, constantly monitoring his device. I'd chalked it up to the pressures of his newfound riches. But what if it was more ominous? The incident itself raised red flags. Marcus was a superb driver, overly prudent, yet he'd somehow veered off a familiar bend and collided with a tree at 60 miles per hour. No tire tracks, per the police, as if he'd made no effort to stop. And now, under 24 hours since we'd interred him, Tiffany was relocating with another man, one she appeared far too at ease with for a recent acquaintance. I retrieved my phone and did something absent from my routine for years. I contacted my former co-worker Helen, who'd wed a private detective post. Retirement. "Helen, it's Dorothy Williams. I require a discreet favor. Some parents instruct their kids to forgive insults. I taught mine to retaliate when trapped. Time to heed my own guidance." The call arrived at 2:17 a.m. on a Tuesday. I recall the precise time since I lay sleepless, pondering why Marcus hadn't replied to my messages from the day before. When the phone rang from an unknown caller, dread froze me. Is this Dorothy Williams? Marcus Williams's mother? The tone was formal, detached. Yes, this is she. What's occurred? "Ma'am, I'm Officer Patterson from State Patrol. Regrettably, your son was in an accident. Reality skewed." I clutched the phone tightly, knuckles blanching. "What sort?" "A solo vehicle crash on Route 47 by Miller's Bend. Mr. Williams' car exited the road and hit a tree. I'm sorry to say he was declared deceased on site." The statement initially didn't sink in, deflecting like precipitation on glass. Marcus gone? Unthinkable. We'd spoken Sunday. He'd vowed to visit Tuesday for a meal. "There must be an error," I breathed. "No, ma'am. Will require identification of the remains and retrieval of his items." The ensuing hours blurred with forms, harsh lighting, and the stark odor of sanitizer at the morgue. Marcus appeared serene there, as if merely napping. No apparent wound save a minor laceration on his brow. For such a lethal impact, he seemed oddly unscathed. Was he buckled in? I queried the coroner. A compassionate woman called Dr. Martinez. Yes, correctly secured. Death resulted from internal injuries due to the collision. He felt no pain. That ought to have soothed me, but it didn't. Something seemed amiss. Tiffany showed up an hour later, attired in black athleisure and high-end shades, tears flowing in neat streams that spared her cosmetics. She flung herself into my embrace with theatrical cries. "Oh, Dorothy, how will we cope without him?" Amid my sorrow, I detected a masculine fragrance on her, not Marcus's mild cologne, but something bolder, more rugged, like a labourer's scent. The service occurred 3 days hence. Marcus despised extravagance, so we opted for simplicity, kin, intimate pals, and select co-workers. I recounted tales of the boy who'd assembled a PC for me despite my tech fears, who rang every Sunday religiously, who always remembered blooms for Mother's Day. Tiffany eulogized her adored spouse and their promising life truncated so cruelly. She patted her eyes with a handkerchief, but I saw the moisture evaporated swiftly. Post-ceremony, at the burial site, I noticed him a lofty figure in dark attire, detached from the group, observing with curiosity over mourning. Our gazes locked. He averted swiftly, but I'd recognized him. It was Rick, the builder at my son's interment, a full day prior to Tiffany's formal introduction of him. How long had their acquaintance lasted? How prolonged had this affair been? As soil cascaded onto my son's coffin, a dreadful notion coalesced in my thoughts, a concept so appalling I attempted to dismiss it, yet it lingered like haze. What if Marcus's mishap was no mishap? The morning post Tiffany's demand, I awoke with sharp insight into my required actions. For 35 years, I'd instructed adolescents in critical analysis, evidence collection, and argument construction. Time to apply those abilities. Initial destination, the precinct. Detective Sarah Collins was younger than anticipated, around 40, with keen eyes and a straightforward demeanor. She attended patiently as I voiced my worries about Marcus's incident. "Mrs. Williams, I comprehend your mourning. But families often seek intricate reasons where none exist. Your son had consumed alcohol that evening." "Alcohol?" That halted me. Marcus seldom imbibed perhaps a brew with a meal. The tox screen indicated a BAC of 0.12, exceeding the limit. I gaped. Impossible. Marcus was adamant against drunk driving. His college buddy perished in one. Detective Collins retrieved a dossier. It also detected traces of alprazolam anxiety meds. The mix can prove lethal. Marcus took no such pills. I'd know. Ma'am, respectfully, grown kids don't disclose all to parents. Your son acquired vast wealth abruptly. Such shifts breed anxiety, prompting substance reliance. I yearned to debate, but her doubt was evident. To her, I was merely a bereaved mom, rejecting harsh facts about her offspring. What of his wife? Have you examined her past? Mrs. Williams, are you implying your daughter-in-law's involvement? Vocalized? It sounded absurd, akin to a poor drama. I'm merely suggesting all angles be explored. We performed a comprehensive probe. No foul play indicators. Condolences for your loss. But mishaps happen. I exited, frustrated yet undeterred. If law enforcement wouldn't delve properly, I'd investigate solo. Next halt, Marcus's residence, now Tiffany's. I retained a key, and officially, Friday was my deadline for gathering mementos. Time to uncover insights. The home felt off upon entry. Tiffany had commenced erasing Marcus's traces, his pictures swapped for bland decor, his tomes packed as if irrelevant. It resembled an effort to obliterate Marcus Williams' existence. In his study, I located his computer secured by password, naturally, but I knew my boy. His code remained unchanged since university. Dorothy 1956, my name and birth year. The discoveries chilled me. Browser logs revealed searches for divorce attorneys, not casual, but completed forms for 3 firms, all recent, within 2 weeks of his passing. More alarming, bank records with substantial cash pulls, atypical for him $10,000, $15,000, always cash, coinciding with Tiffany's spa trips. The final notation stood out. A $50,000 shift to an unknown account 3 days pre-death. A vehicle approached the drive Tiffany's return. Swiftly, I snapped photos of the statements and shut the device. When Tiffany entered laden with purchases, I was benignly organizing Marcus's books. "Dorothy, why are you here?" Her tone dripped distrust, gathering Marcus's items. "You granted until Friday." She deposited her bags, eyeing me warily. "Take what you like. Most heads to donation." I displayed a snapshot of Marcus's graduation. He beamed with pride then. "May I keep this?" "Sure." Her reply was hasty, indifferent for discussing her late husband's keepsakes. While packing, I resolved. Tiffany could claim the house, pose as sorrowful widow, but she'd overlooked a key fact. She faced a woman versed in outwitting youths for decades. And one lesson from those years: people expose their essence eventually. They merely need the proper observer. Friday dawned with bone-chilling drizzle. I lingered in the vacant kitchen, observing Tiffany and Rick orchestrate movers like a tactical mission. Noon was my eviction hour. The prior 3 days involved securing a leased flat nearby and, crucially, deploying my safeguard. "Dorothy, ready yet?" Rick yelled, his cheer artificial. Up close, he appeared ruggedly attractive, the type who seduced effortlessly, the sort Marcus would have despised. "Nearly done," I answered, rolling my final bag to the exit. Tiffany emerged from the lounge, inspecting like a monarch ascending. "We value your cooperation, Dorothy. I know it's tough, but Marcus would have desired the best for us all." Her goal was stunning, reshaping narrative to portray herself as rational. "Naturally, dear," I cooed. "I seek what Marcus would have too." Unmentioned, the 4 minuscule cameras I'd positioned discreetly over 3 days. Cutting edge, button-sized, wireless, invisible sans precise knowledge. Helen's spouse aided in choosing home protection gear truthful enough. 2 angled on the lounge, 1 oversaw kitchen and dining, the 4th in Marcus's former study, now Rick's lair. Feeds streamed to my phone app and backup storage. Whatever their schemes, I'd witness firsthand. "Well," I uttered, surveying my son's gifted abode one last time. "Farewell, I guess." Tiffany hugged me audaciously. "Care for yourself, Dorothy. You're welcome anytime. Visit my own home?" Her composure was ironclad. I drove off leisurely, mirroring until the house vanished. Then, at a cafe lot 6 blocks distant, I launched the app. Flawless, sharp visuals of Tiffany and Rick settling. Rick's gear strewn on my counters as they plotted remodel phase 1. I requested a big coffee and tuned in. Revelations surfaced by 3 p.m. Rick's 3 calls piqued interest. First to Jimmy, scheduling an evening meet. Second to a bank on hastening insurance docs. Third, most revealing, to a babe, not Tiffany. "Yeah, it's flawless," Rick stated. "Camera behind in my kitchen." The old gal swallowed the morning widow routine. "Insurance cash in a month." "Insurance!" My heart raced. Tiffany entered view, embracing Rick from rear, and the cop's probe, what probe, ruled accident. Done. Rick pivoted, smirk evident. Your hubby Marcus simplified it. "He didn't drink," Tiffany amended coldly. "You insured that." The space whirled. I steadied my phone, verifying audio capture. "Details, love. Key is it succeeded. 1 extra drop in his beverage. Wait for wheels and crash. Issue fixed. They'd slain him." Rick's follow-up iced me. "Now, ensure Granny Dorothy stays nosy-free." I shut the app, staring in the cafe. I possessed it all. Yet overhearing their nonchalant murder chat unnerved me more. Their scheme wasn't complete. I was next. Sleep evaded me that night. Instead, in my bland flat, I monitored feeds on my laptop, jotting notes. By dawn, I held ample to ruin them if I survived to deploy it. Midnight brought the pivotal moment. Jimmy's arrival, a fidgety 50 seconds man, perpetually scanning as if anticipating raids. "Sure this is wise?" Jimmy queried, taking Rick's beer. "Convening here amid scrutiny?" "What scrutiny?" "Cops bought it, booze crash. Over." Rick lounged in Marcus's cherished chair proprietarily. Plus, Phase 2 discussion. Phase 2. My insides twisted. Tiffany joined, snuggling Rick on the couch. "How soon till insurance disperses?" 3 to 4 weeks, Jimmy said. But snag, the old woman's inquiring. Phoned my station cousin twice weekly. I'd done no such. My Sol Collins visit resonated. "What inquiries?" Rick's tone menaced. "On Tox report. Testing beyond booze." Silence ensued. Then Tiffany, chillingly pragmatic. "Perhaps Dorothy requires an incident too." "Tiff," that's Jimmy began. "What?" "She's aged, erratic, post Marcus. Who doubt a stair tumble or car issue on her favoured twisty lanes?" Rick nodded contemplatively. "Solid notion. Nip the risk early." I hastily preserved the clip, hands quaking. They plotted my demise like vacation planning. "Brilliance," Tiffany added. "Is Dorothy's distraught, muddled over housing? If mishap now, folks assume stress overload. Plus," Rick grinned sickeningly, "her life's policy 25K, worthwhile. How'd he know my insurance? Tiffany accessed my files?" Jimmy rose sharply. "I aided with Marcus 'cause divorce meant loss. But offing elders?" "Line drawn." "Chill," Rick urged. "Just talk. Dorothy's safe." His eyes betrayed planning. "Post Jimmy." I viewed their specifics. Staged auto crash favoured, mimicking senior error. They picked a curve 15 miles out. "Brake sabotage," Rick pondered. "Appear mechanical." "Timeline?" Tiffany pressed. 2-day setup. "Then reprise grieving kin for burial." "Kin?" Revolting. I shut the laptop, pondering in gloom. I held destruction-grade proof, clear clips of Marcus's murder confession and my plot. But system-savvy knew lawyers could deem footage illegal, inadmissible, delay justice while fiends roam. No, I needed ironclad, inescapable lockup material. My phone pinged from unknown. Insomnia, Dorothy? Drive cautiously roads perilous for your age. They tracked my abode, surveilling. But Tiffany and Rick overlooked in criminal haste. I'd battled bullies, schemers, teen psychos, 35 years. I'd mastered foresight, flipping hubris. They craved games? All right, playtime. Next dawn, I stunned my former self, phoned a defense lawyer, not for defense, but case-building comprehension. Mrs. Williams, Patricia Reed said post-explanation, compelling, but require more. Consentless video inadmissible per defense. What if legal recording catches extra crimes? Patricia arched a brow. That alters all. But how? I grinned, revitalized. Trust me. Next. Collins. Strategy shifted. Detective reporting life threat. Attention snared. Hour later, in my flat, I displayed the menacing text. Mrs. Williams could be prank. What if I suspect daughter-in-law and beau slew my son for insurance? Grave claim. Proof? I played edited clip. Rick on phase 2, loose ends. No illicit acquisition mention, just overheard worry. Collins listened keenly. Mrs. Williams, station tomorrow for statement. Post-departure, I rang ex-principal Frank Morrison, retired same year. Dorothy, glad hearing you. Coping? Frank, favor needed. Recall drug-dealing sting on students? Yes. Why? Borrow your strategy and phone company nephew. By dusk, plan solidified hazardous, perhaps foolish, but sole path to slam-dunk evidence. I texted Rick from burner. Jimmy shared your Dorothy issue. I can assist. Meet tomorrow, Old Industrial Road warehouse. Solo, a pal. Then waited. Feeds showing Rick and Tiffany puzzling sender. Could be anybody. Rick paced lounge. Jimmy's networked. Trap? Tiffany fretted. What trap? None know. If aid for Dorothy fix, dumb to ignore, ideal, pride, their flaw. The derelict Hartwell warehouse, unused 15 years a town relic. I arrived 2 hours prior, rigging with Tony. Frank's nephew, dozen mics hidden. Sure, Mrs. Williams. Tony adjusted purse transmitter. They seem hazardous. They are. Hence proper execution. Collins and 2 officers stationed outside, signal ready. Recordings admissible. Voluntary meet in public for crime talk. At 3 p.m. sharp, Rick's truck arrived. He exited solo, scanning before nearing entrance. I emerged from pillar. His face cycled shock to wary confusion. Dorothy, what are you doing? Awaiting you, Rick. Chat time. You texted. He scanned for setup astute but insufficient. Shocked? Shouldn't be. Think I'd fade 'cause you and Tiffany deemed me nuisance? His hand neared jacket. Look, crone, whatever you imagine, I know you offed my son. Drugged, dispatched to doom. Planning mine too. Voice steady, casual. Why so careless? Rick paled. You're nuts, Marcus accidented. Oh? Explain this. Phone audio played. Recent confession. Colour fled. Source. Irrelevant. What'll you pay to block police? Attention. Hooked. Pivotal. Elicit deeper incrimination or stake all on existing. What do you want? He murmured. Truth. Whole. Why, Marcus? Worth slaying? Rick scanned again, decided. Fine. Truth? Your saint son planned Tiffany divorce. We'd gain zilch. Wed under 2 years, no support, no assets. Killed for cash, killed cause he'd ruin us. Tiffany and I, 3 years, pre-Marcus marriage. 3 years? Reeling. Cheating whole time. Cheating? Rick scoffed. She wed for dough, planned from start, riches jackpot. But suspicions arose, PI talks. So murdered, problem solved. Now you're one too. Hand, jacket bound. Lucky, isolating yourself. Who says solo? Lights flared, Collins echoed. Police, freeze! Rick whirled, grasping Tiffany's feared snare. Too late, full capture. Cuffing, he glared hatefully. Think done? Tiffany silent. Prove nada on Marcus. I smiled, profoundly satisfied. Oh, Rick, unaware of next. While Rick processed, feeds showed Tiffany pacing house, caged. 2 hours calling Rick unanswered, frenzied. Then Collins and I visited. Dorothy Williams, Collins badged. Discuss husband's death, fresh evidence. Tiffany feigned baffled innocence. Evidence? Accident? Months ago. Enter? Sure. Stepping aside, I trailed Collins into my ex-home, reeking Rick's scent, Tiffany's despair. Mrs. Williams arrested Richard Patterson re husband's death. Serious claims. Rick arrested. Flawless act. Shock. Bewilderment. Alarm. Claims. Collins placed recorder. Listen. Rick's voice damned. Killed. Cause future ruin. Tiffany and I, 3 years. Tiffany's facade cracked hearing lover's betrayal. But no collapse, she laughed. Prove zilch. Rick lies, self-saving blame. Lying on 3-year affair? Collins queried. Rick's obsessed. Since Marcus hired him last year for housework, gentle letdown, cause unstable. Impressive if ignorant, I'd buy. Insurance? I interjected softly. Tiffany turned, seeming wounded. Dorothy, how believe lies? Loved Marcus, still mourning. Drop pretense, Tiffany. Video of my murder plot. Expression steady, eyes flickered. Impossible. Collins nodded. I played house footage. Tiffany's voice. Dorothy needs accident too. Real fear flashed, quick recovery. Not me. Rick audio manipulated. Threatened forced fantasy compliance. Terrified. Collins eyed me planned moment for Tiffany's Rick pinning. If terrified, I said, why key him? DNA on Marcus's stuff? Office cleaned post-funeral? Shocked. Grief irrational. Enough. Collins halted, arresting for murder conspiracy, insurance scam. Rights read, Tiffany glared, mask gone. Meddling hag, should have buttered out. Son slaying my affair, I replied evenly. As cuffed away, peace washed absent since Marcus's death. But major twist awaited. Collins called 3 days post-arrest. Station, Mrs. Williams, development, same room. She seemed weary yet content. Rick's apartment search yielded intriguing. Finances, letters, pics. Son's murder tip of iceberg. Folder slid. World spun. Deposits from insurers. Pics of 6+ affluent elders. Correspondence with Janet Morrison, Rick's prior gal. House fire death 8 months pre-Marcus Tiffany meet. Serial killers, I whispered. Suspect so. Contacted 4 states on matching suspicious deaths. Wealthy seniors with young mates dying conveniently post. Insurance tweaks. Scale immense. Marcus. No lone victim segment of years-long orchestrated killings. More, Collins added. Rick Steele seeking talk. Tiffany masterminds, scouts, marks. Rick executes murders. $2M plus past 5 years. 2 million. Lives wrecked for funds. Most intriguing, Collins said, another doc. Sun uncovered it. How? Hidden cloud files, pics, finances, recordings. Knew Tiffany's truth, doc. Unsent draft email, 2 days pre-death. Mom, if reading, something befell me. Tiffany's alias, Jennifer Walsh, linked 3 Nevada suspicious deaths. Evidence gathered, but she's suspecting. All in First National's safe box. Key under desk drawer. If mishap, police it. Sorry, miss. Love, Marcus. Tears blurred, pride, agony clashed. Sun protected me entering trap. Why not flee? Notes say, feared her vanishing, restarting, wanted permanent halt. Marcus' hero died. Succeeding evidence convicting killers. One more, Collins gently. Expected insurance. Marcus switched beneficiary 3 weeks pre-death. All to you. I startled. What? $2. 7M. Insured Tiffany Zilch if harm. Exiting station, realized Marcus's last lesson. Justice best vengeance, but unfinished. 6 months on, courthouse. Tiffany, Jennifer Walsh. Life, no parole. Rick, same. Multiple first-degree murders. Room-filled victims' kin bonded over grief, justice quest. Judge's words evoked Marcus he'd approve legal triumph over vengeance. Post-hearing, cemetery visit weekly ritual, today conclusive. Got 'em all, dear, flowers placed. Insurance enabled undreamed. Marcus Foundation aiding murder victims' families legally. 3 assisted already. Repurchased Maple House from state seizure, but uninhabited memories mixed. Bought smaller spot, garden perfect, guest ready. Friends emerged investigation, helpers, believers, when I felt paranoid. Collins texted, Michigan case news. 3 convictions via Marcus's evidence. Proud? Was? Of Marcus, self, faced killers, outmaneuvered, proved 67 no helplessness. Recalling mentees, queering tough kids, parents, instinct, trust, dig till truth. Took 67 years, full adherence late, better than none. Learned grief, needn't weaken, can fortify justice, fight. Criminal outthink, truth risk bravery. Sometimes good prevails. Driving home lifelong town felt rare. True joy, deep difference-making satisfaction. Marcus gone unchanging, killers harm no more. Perhaps he beamed at Mum's quiet refusal. Taught teens 35 years, think Tiffany. Rick could outwit teen psycho veteran? Wrong Mom messed. Lifelong prison regret. Thanks listening. Subscribe? Comment your tale.